he claims to be a wrestling journalist. That's what he claims to be. He hangs his hat on being a wrestling journalist. I'd love to see his journalist degree. Bro, if you ask me, Vince, do you have you call yourself a journalist. Do you have a degree in journalism? Yes, I do. And I'll be happy to show you at any time. Yep. I'd love to see Meltzer's degree in journalism, that he's a journalist. Okay. Meanwhile, jackass, you're covering professional wrestling.
Well, we got pulled back to do one more show. It's recorded, but let me mention this. Vince, I hear great news about you. I understand that while we are leaving Sportskeeda, you will be going to the NWA. I heard that this morning. It broke across all news channels. You were going to go start writing for the NWA.
Mac, I got to tell you something, man. I am going to put all the heat and all the blame on you. Because let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what happened. Because I'm already getting tweets. You know, you said that you were going blah 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 blah. Okay, let me explain what happened. So, my good friends Conan and Disco, who I've known both for 26 years, come out with this story about me going to the NWA. Now, Mac, I had been talking about contemplating going to work in a wrestling promotion. And I walked everybody through the process because getting there had a lot of, ups and downs. And I was explaining that to everybody. This is what's involved. And it's like one day it was on, one day it was off, one day it was on, one day it was off. I never mentioned an organization ever because I knew the bottom line was if I agreed to it, I wanted it to be somewhat of a surprise. I still believe in kayfabe. So I never mentioned any organization. All of a sudden, Jeff Lane, sends me a tweet that Conan and Disco did a whole video about me going to the NWA. And like I said, bro, these have been friends that have been 26 years, Mac. Not one of them called me. Neither one of them called me. So,
not even Disco.
Not even Disco. No, wow. Nobody called me. So, Mac, I had smartened you up. And I said, Mac, listen, just so you know, blah, 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 this is what I plan on doing. So you knew where I was going. And Mac, I swear to God, I think, really a handful of people even knew I was talking to JCW, but I told you.
Yep.
So we come on the show on Friday and we're doing our review show. And you kind of caught me off guard by saying sarcastically, you're going to NWA. And you kind of caught me off guard, Mac. And I'm like, yeah. I swear to God, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to NWA. Sarcastically, you said it. So, bro, let me explain everything to everybody. This is Meltzer's only hope. This is his only hope because sure enough, Meltzer did a video of me going to NWA. And the only way where places could have caught that from. I'm going to say something too on the air too, bro. Matt, this is breaking news for Raju. Okay. Raju, this is better than anything you whatever bullshit you want us to talk about, Raju. Mac, I got to tell you something. This goes back to this. Many, many years ago when I first started Pyro and Ballyhoo, this is going back about 10 years. I was just starting Pyro and Ballyhoo. I needed content. Lucha Underground was starting. So I got in touch with who used to be the head writer of Lucha Underground? He had.
I honestly don't recall who it was.
He's kind of down in the WWE. Oh, shoot. He worked for the WWE. Nice guy. His name is escaping me. But anyway, I contacted him and said, listen, man, if I come to California to Lucha Underground, can I get content for my website? I wanted to get some interviews. I was a big fan back then, and I'm going to put her over because the fact that nobody made her a superstar blows my mind. I was a big fan of Evilise. Vamp was there, and I'd known Vamp for years, so I said, I just want to get content for my website. And he said, yeah, Matt, DeJoseph.
Vic Joseph?
No, DeJoseph was his last name.
Oh, DeJoseph. Okay.
Yeah, I want to say Mike DeJoseph. I'm not sure. Definitely DeJoseph. So he said, yeah, Vince, no problem. Come down. We'll let you get interviews and stuff like that. So I go down there to get interviews. That's the only reason I went on there. Next thing I know, Meltzer is printing a story that I'm trying to get a job there. He's listing all these heads of Lucha Underground that I'm meeting with. Mac, I never even heard of these people. I had no idea who they were.
So where's he getting this information from?
Well, I'm going to tell you, and I've never said this before.
Okay.
He got it from Conan. Conan gives Meltzer news. In my opinion, to cover my ass. He got it from Conan. Conan was working at the company at Lucha Underground at the time. He got it from Conan. And it was all wrong. And I contacted Dave and I said, bro, it's bullshit. I don't even know who these people are that you're talking about. Freaking retract it. Of course, he never retracted it. So let's connect the dots here. Here we are. 10 years later, Conan breaks the story that Vince is going to NWA. Oh, next thing I know, Meltzer backs up the story that Vince is going to NWA. Oh, another coincidence. Bro, here's the bottom line. So you catch me off guard and say, oh yeah, Vince, you're going to NWA, knowing I was going to work with the Juggalos. You knew.
Yep.
And I said, yeah, Matt, yeah, I'm going to, so sarcastically. So this is the only thing that Meltzer can use to save face. But guys, here's the problem. And here's why he can't use that to save face. Because Dave Meltzer he claims to be a wrestling journalist. That's what he claims to be. He hangs his hat on being a wrestling journalist. I'd love to see his journalist degree. Bro, if you ask me, Vince, do you have you call yourself a journalist. Do you have a degree in journalism? Yes, I do. And I'll be happy to show you at any time. Yep. I'd love to see Meltzer's degree in journalism, that he's a journalist. Okay. Meanwhile, jackass, you're covering professional wrestling. Like get over yourself, bro. You're not covering, wars and what's going on over, in the Middle East. You're covering wrestling.
A TV show.
Yeah, exactly. So Mac, like, wrestling journalist is such a ridiculous oxymoron to begin with. I would never claim to be that. So he claims to be a wrestling journalist. Okay, bro. So whether you heard that on this show, whether your buddy Conan smartened you up, whatever the deal, okay, bro, well, there's two people you can contact to verify this story.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, number one is me, which is never going to happen in a million years. This guy's scared to shit. As a matter of fact, I may be the reason Dave Meltzer is balding. He may be losing his hair.
He's not losing the hair. He's getting younger by the day. His hair gets darker and darker.
Yeah. He may be losing his hair because of me. But number two, Billy Corgan. So, you got a guy, me, very controversial guy. I've written for 3 wrestling companies. I've been in the business since 1991. And you got Billy Corgan, NWA, a prominent. He's got 2 people he can contact to verify the story, too.
Yep.
Who does he contact? Nobody. Then don't call yourself a journalist. Mac, listen, you've been in radio. You've been in media.
I grew up, just so you know, Vince, I grew up in a household where my father was a newspaper man. He was executive editor of a newspaper. So journalist hits home with me whenever I hear somebody say, I'm a journalist. Bullshit.
Yeah. So your father hears, oh, Vince Russo's going to NWA. What's your father doing, Mac?
He's digging up every phone call and everything he can overturn to find out what's true and what's not true, because he's not going to print it until he knows for sure that it's correct.
Exactly. So, Dave, not only did you not contact me, which, of course, you never would do because you never retracted that story 10 years ago, and I called you on your bullshit, so I don't expect you to call me. But Billy Corgan, NWA is his company. You're not going to call Billy Corgan. Billy, is this true? Why did you hire Vince? Yada, 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 yada. So what do you do, bro? Now you put it out there again. You're 100% wrong. And now you got to save face, and you're going to blame it on good old Mac Davis saying it on this show, and me sarcastically saying, oh yeah, Mac, I'm going to work for NWA.
Okay, well, let's be honest here. For those of you who are watching and you're still not quite sure where Vince is going, let me tell you, there have been so many rumors, but it's possible that he could be showing up in TNA, maybe NXT on their brand, because they could use some help there, AEW, or maybe even WWE. The question is, which one is it really? And of course, we've been saying this since we started the show, and even Dave Meltzer, who's watching at this point, I promise you he's watching. He is now thinking, okay, where is he going? Well, we said it 3 times already, damn it. Tell him, Vince, where are you going?
I worked my last night. I worked my first night last night with the bro. Me saying this at 65 years old in itself is hysterical. I worked with Violent J last night of the Insane Clown Posse and Juggalo Championship Wrestling. And bro, let me tell you something. This is where these people are absolutely clueless, because if they know me, they know that's a place I'm going to go. I could never work with Billy Corgan in a million years. Nothing against Billy, bro. I know how Billy is. Our personalities would be this. You really think I would ever go back and work in WWE, NXT, any of those companies? Really? Everything I've said about them, everything Mac and I have said about them, you really think I would go back there? And then you got Tony Khan and Mac. We all know Tony Khan doesn't need help from anybody. Tony Khan knows what he's doing. Tony Khan's getting those ratings up through the roof. So when you think about it, it makes all the sense in the world. Why? First of all, I've known Violent J since 1999. I've known him for 26 years. What do him and I have in common? A lot of things, bro. He's always been a very, very controversial figure. He's always been spoken out. I mean, my God, bro, one of the things I'll never remember is when ICP was on freaking Howard Stern with Sharon Osbourne. And bro, they ate her up and spit her out, and I'll never forget that. I brought those guys into WWE. I brought them into WCW. Joe is a creative genius. Joe is not the boss type. Joe is not the my way or the highway type. Yeah. So there were so many things that lined up. And Mac, at the end of the day, I've said this again and again and again and again and again. If I ever do anything, it comes down to one thing. I want to have fun.
Yes.
I'm not getting involved in political bullshit. I got invited. Mac, I was working in Indy here, Rocky Mountain Pro, in Indy, infested with bullshit and drama and politics and all that shit. And I said, if I'm ever going to do this again, it's going to be fun. Period. End of story. And let me tell you, I was there one night. There are no politics. Much like Vince McMahon, there's one guy in charge. And bro, let me tell you something. Everyone in that locker room respects the shit out of Violent J. Respects the shit. No drama, no politics. And I used to hear, like, I people kept telling me over and over and over and over and over, the Juggalos are a family. The Juggalos are a family. It's a family environment. And I'm like, yeah, bro, I've heard that before. There's no families in wrestling. None. You know, Mac. It's every man for himself. But I went there last night, and bro, Mac, I don't know about you. I always prepare myself for the worst. I always prepare myself for, as a matter of fact, Mac, I swear to God, I had a dream the night before that I was working for a wrestling promotion, and I showed up and they didn't want to do anything my way. And I left. I swear to God, I had that dream Saturday night. So I'm going there yesterday, like full prepared. Bro, if I'm leaving in 2 hours, I'm leaving in 2 hours. Bro, they do the wrestling show at 4:30. After the wrestling show, they put on their concert. Okay? So they've got the wrestling shows starts at 4:30. It's over. They got to break down the ring. There's 2 warm-up bands before ICP. ICP finally comes on at 9 o'clock. So, Matt, keep in mind, the show ended at about 6. I live 30 minutes away. Bro, normally in the experiences I had, 6 o'clock, I'm in my car, I'm headed home. Bro, I stayed around for the show.
Wow.
I stayed around. So literally there was downtime from 6 to 9 that I hung around to go to their show out of respect. And bro, the business these guys have built, I think they started ICP in 89. I think that's when it started. The business these guys have built is freaking absolutely amazing. It is absolutely amazing. And you know, bro, I've heard about it for years and years and years and years. Never been to an ICP show.
Yeah.
Bro, these guys got this business model down to a freaking T.
Let me ask you, I'm just out of curiosity, do the wrestling fans from the wrestling shows, are they the same ones who stick around for the concert that night?
Absolutely.
So they're keeping these people through a wrestling show, a break in between, and then a concert. That's hard to do for anybody.
So, a wrestling show, then they're waiting for the crew to break down a ring. Yeah. Then they're going through 1 warm-up band, 2 warm-up bands. So in other words, these people, the show starts at 4:30. So what, they get to the venue at 3?
Yep.
ICP is off the stage probably at about 10:30. So they're there for 6.5 hours.
That's incredible. If they keep a wrestling fan sitting there and going through all that, you got to have something they want to see to be sticking around. So that's impressive. I was curious about that, because when you can keep that wrestling crowd to stick around for something that's still several hours away, Jesus, I mean, most of them go home and find something else to do. You're keeping them there for a concert. That's
they got me to stick around. They literally got me to stick around because, bro, the more I'm seeing these people fill in and they're all in freaking clown makeup, I'm like, I gotta see what this is. I've got to experience this. And my God, bro, you're talking about phenomenal showmen. Bro, it's, you know, I don't know, like, I don't know what to say. I mean,
how crazy are their shows, by the way, Vince? Because, you know, as somebody who's never been to one, and it's like you said, you've never been to one until you went. I always thought that maybe the Juggalo wrestling was this crazy, you know, scene.
Everybody thinks that, bro. Everybody thinks it's violence. It's not. It's the complete opposite, bro.
Wow.
They've got defined a little of it, you know, and Joe and I have had many conversations. So a lot of it is over the top. But that's their audience. So, bro, they've got such well-defined characters. I mean, they really do. And everybody, when you say they think it's violence, and no, it's not that at all. But that's the reputation they have because of, you know, I guess, you know, back in 89, ICP was groundbreaking back in 89. They were doing stuff back then nobody was doing. And I guess that's the reputation that followed them. Bro, you could, without a shadow of a doubt, you can bring kids not only to a JCW wrestling show, but the concert.
Oh, wow.
There's nothing, bro. They've got like dancing clowns, and then the dancing clowns get into ghoul outfits. They've got their Fago they're shooting around. Like literally, if you brought a kid to this concert, they would have a freaking blast.
Wow. And see, that's funny because, like you say, a lot of people just automatically think this is a violent program. There's something about this, you know, these guys, and their wrestling is going to be more like the old ECW days. And I saw a little bit of video just recently, and I'm thinking it doesn't look exactly like what I thought it was.
I could tell you this, Mac. These guys, before I came in, they did a program. It was like Juggalo Championship Wrestling versus GCW.
Oh,
yeah. Ooh. And they had a whole series of events and stuff. And bro, what happened was, for some reason, Violent J could not be at the last show. Violent J runs everything. He couldn't be at the last show. So they run the show with GCW, and at the end of the show, somebody gets set on fire. Violent J comes back, was irate. And not only irate, he fired the 2 people from his company who were involved in the match. These guys, that's what I'm saying, bro. It's like, they had this reputation in '89. Remember, they were banned from all these labels and all that. They had this reputation, and here we are in 2025. And I don't know if Joe would get hot at me saying this, thinking I'm killing the gimmick, bro. I ain't killing no gimmick. They've got such a following, bro. It's an ECW thing without a shadow of a doubt. It's the ECW vibe.
That's very cool. And we need something like that in today's wrestling, to be completely honest, because there needs to be something different from what we see on the traditional TV every freaking week. The reason why you and I are not actually upset that we don't have to do this show anymore, because we don't have to watch that shit that they develop on Friday nights.
Absolutely.
Other things, when you talk about Dave Meltzer and his news reporting, you and I got a big laugh when we realized that he fell hook, line, and sinker for the NWA thing. Is that the first time you've had problems with Meltzer and bad news? Because it seems to me Meltzer has been one of those guys in wrestling, and I've never discussed Dave Meltzer. I never have. Don't really know him. I've met him once. But the one thing that Dave Meltzer always came across to me as was somebody who would throw out things he heard, rumors, and then tried to claim them to be true. And then sometimes he would get lucky and they would come true. Other times they didn't, and he would ignore it. Let's go back to talking about people who are journalists in wrestling. Is there anybody in wrestling today that you would consider a true journalist?
I want to go back to Dave Meltzer, because this is very, very, very important, Mac.
Sorry. It's early in the morning.
Yeah. Mac, back in the day, going back to 1991, I formed a relationship with John Arezzi. John Arezzi was on the dirt sheet side. Bro, up until that point, I'm a wrestling fan. I don't know about dirt. I don't know about any of this. So as I start getting in with Arezzi, I start realizing this freaking world. In 1991, this is where I was introduced to Dave Meltzer. Now, guys, this is why I'm telling you, this has been going on for 34 years. So, Mac, this is the time when Vince McMahon was on trial for the steroids.
Yep.
And the dirt sheets were having a ball with him. An absolute ball, bro. Okay? So, Vince announces there's going to be a steroid symposium in New York City. And they're going to change their drug testing policy. They're going to have the doctors who are going to oversee the drug testing, and they're going to lay that all out to the media. Dave Meltzer got an invite. So Arezzi tells me Dave Meltzer's not going. Mac, I get on the phone with Dave Meltzer. And I said in 1991, I said, wait a minute, bro. You're burying them over this steroid stuff. They invite you to this symposium. You're not even going to go, and you call yourself a journalist? You know what his answer to me was, Mac?
What's that?
Why would I go? I know they're only going to lie anyway. That I knew right then, literally right then in 1999, I'm like, okay, bro, so this is the game. You already know, bro, they're going to lie. Everything coming out of their mouth is going to be a lie. So what's the point in you going? That was my first interaction with Dave Meltzer. When you talk about journalists, though, go ahead, Matt.
No, I was just about to say that when it comes to journalism, Dave doesn't really have that. He has zero background as far as journalism goes. You can tell that simply by the way he reports and the way he talks about things. I don't mean he's not even a great writer. Have you seen some of the stuff that he's written on the sentences that go on forever?
I would never read that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And there are people who still read that to this day. But when it comes to today's wrestling and today's journalism, have you ever come across someone that you thought, this cat's got it together? They actually do the work that they can call themselves a wrestling journalist.
God, on paper, no. I mean, there are some, like, I love Van Fleet. I think he's great in his interviews. Maven's doing a lot of that stuff. I think Maven is great.
But they're more like hosts, though, than they are.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. When you're talking dirt sheets and, like, news, absolutely not.
I'm trying to remember. There's a guy out of North Carolina. He's an actual newspaper journalist that writes. Mike.
He's been around forever, right?
Yeah, I can't think. He's one of the only ones I can think of that I've seen that does the due diligence to kind of check and make sure that what he's reporting is correct. Yeah. Mike Johnson, I think that may be his name. I don't to please with Mike.
I've had a history with that guy too.
Okay. Like I said, I don't know the history between Vince and other people sometimes.
Bro, here's my history with Mike Johnson real quick. Here's my interest with Mike Johnson. TNA hires me as a consultant. Okay. Dixie Carter's direct derivative to me is, Vince, if anybody finds out about this, the gig is up. Okay. I thought that was absolute bullshit. Mac, I'm not going to lie to you. I needed work at the time. Yeah, I really needed work at the time. So that's absolutely ridiculous, Dixie. But if that's what you want me to do, that's what I want me to do. So I kayfabed it. I told nobody. So my role kept growing more and more and more. And it got to the point where I was now working with the announcers. So I had to send an email to Mike Tenay and Taz. So I type in Mike and accidentally, you know how like when you type in Mike's, all the mics come up?
Yep.
I accidentally sent it to Mike Johnson.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-oh.
So now Mike Johnson has this in his hand. Now, again, let's talk about journalists. If I'm Mike Johnson, what I'm doing is I am contacting Vince and letting him know I got this. By the way, Vince, you sent this to the wrong person. So are you either going to come clean with this or am I? That did not happen. Mike Johnson took that and ran with it and, spread it everywhere. Never had the decency to contact me, not giving a shit if my job was going to be on the line or not, if I was going to lose my job, how I was supporting my family at the time, could not wait to take that and run with it. So when you ask me, do I think he's a responsible journalist? Absolutely not. Guys, you want to see journalists at its work, bro. I swear to God, one of my favorite movies of all time, All the President's Men, man.
Yes.
Woodward and Bernstein, when they cracked Watergate. Guys, you want to see what real journalism is? You need to watch that movie.
We don't have real journalism in the world as it is right now, to be honest with you, Vince. No. I mean, our newscasts that we see, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, all these people, they all have a slant one way or another of a message they want to get across.
Absolutely.
So we don't get the real journalism that we used to get. Now, back in the day when my father was in the newspaper business as a journalist, I would go into the newspaper building. I mean, there was an entire floor of nothing but people at desk with typewriters, and you hear them just typing away. Yeah. They're on the phones talking to the police department, the mayor, whoever, to get the real story. Yep. My father used to tell me stories about he had to actually go for some of his reporters. He had to go to some of the mafia types in town.
Oh, yeah.
And absolutely. Calm them down so they wouldn't hurt his reporters. I mean, I heard stories like that all the time. Yeah. That was real journalism back then. Today, in wrestling especially, there is no journalism. There are only hosts talking about the sport or, the entertainment portion of professional wrestling. That's it.
That's it, man. That is it. Yes. And all they're interested in is freaking gossip. That's all they're freaking interested in, bro. They're like freaking yentas. They're like washwomen. That's all they freaking care about, man. That's what they're looking for, the dirt. That is why they're called dirt sheets. So I guess when you have a Vince Russo who's written for all these companies and whose name is still out there, and you have a Billy Corgan, who runs NWA, and he's Billy Corgan, I guess that's not a story because there's no dirt involved. There's no dirt there. So to not contact either freaking party, bro.
I do think it's funny, though, that the person who really started this whole thing was Conan and Disco by saying that, oh, yeah, we're hearing you're going to NWA. When I heard that, I thought, oh, my God, they did not just say that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you know Disco, and I know you and Disco have been kind of on the outs a little bit lately, but still, a phone call, a text, anything, that's all it took. And then Dave Meltzer goes, hey, I know the story now, which is comical. Vince, when I think about it, we could have been just throwing out little things like that for months at a time and drove him crazy.
Yeah, and bro, there was never any thought of going to, it's not my style. You guys know NWA, it's all throwback, it's all that serious crap. When you put on Gigolo Championship Wrestling, that's got Vince Russo's name written all over it. That's more my style. So I mean, that was never even a thought in my mind, Mac.
I love it. I honestly do. I love the fact that I can actually see Dave Meltzer in action, losing face because he's reporting incorrect news.
They're gonna use our clip. They're gonna use our clip from Friday when you threw it out there sarcastically, and I said, "Oh yeah," and that's what they're saying, and that is gonna turn me into a liar. You know my reputation, Mac. I'm the biggest liar on the planet. Oh yeah, that's gonna add to it. That's gonna add to it, Mac.
I kind of thought that really after we were talking about it on Friday. I kept thinking he might get a lot of shit for this because they're all gonna say, "Oh, you were trying to." No, we weren't. We were just reporting what other people said. That's all we said.
Exactly. Yeah.